Elements of an insurance contract. So big concept on the exam. It's usually in the general insurance chapter or the insurance contract chapter, whatever. But every single policy that we sell is a contract. And these 4 elements of a legal contract are true for every contract, whether it's a rental agreement or a job agreement. And insurance are all contracts. So you have to understand the 4 elements of a legal contract. The first one is agreement. An agreement is like a handshake. One person makes the offer, one person accepts the offer, and you are in agreement. So agreement is known as offer and acceptance. One side makes the offer, one side accepts it, and you are in agreement. Now, we get confused a lot about who's making the offer because we hear commercials that say, save 15% or more on your car insurance. That sounds a lot like an offer, but even if you were to call them and to get a quote, you're going to have to give them a bunch of information, which is you filling out the application. So when you're actually talking to an agent on the phone, they're filling out an application for you, putting in the answers for you, and that is the offer. So the offer is actually the customer or the applicant trying to get insurance. They're offering their risks, because if insurance is the transfer of risk, by putting them on the application, you are showing what you're offering, what you want to transfer, what you want the insurance company to take. So the offer is where the customer submits an application. So if the customer submits the application, then acceptance would be issuing the policy. And now you're in agreement. So agreement is known as offer and acceptance. The offer is when the customer submits an app showing all their risks. Acceptance would be the insurer accepting those risks and then issuing the policy. So agreement is known as offer and acceptance. Offer, customer submitting the app. Acceptance, insurer issuing the policy, and you are in agreement. The next element of a legal contract is consideration. And consideration is I bring, you bring. And this is where both parties have to bring value to the other party. Think about the word consideration. Break it down to considerate. If you are considerate of someone, you think about what they want. And if they're considerate about you, they think about what you want. So with insurance, you have the customer and you have the company, and both parties need to bring value to the other party. And that's the definition of consideration. Both parties must bring value. Now, then they're going to ask you, well, what is the value that each side brings? But they're not going to use the word value. They're going to use the word consideration. So they're going to say, what is consideration on the side of the company? And the consideration on the side of the company is promise to pay the claims. So if you have an accident, your house burns down, you get sick, they will pay the claim. So that's the value that the insurer brings, is the promise to pay the claim. The value or the consideration that the customer brings is app plus premium. The application which lists out your risks and the money that you're willing to pay for them to take or to transfer your risk to them. So consideration is consideration is both parties must bring value. The value that the company brings is the promise to pay. The value that the customer brings is app plus premium. But remember, they're not going to say what is the value that they bring. They're going to say what is the consideration. And consideration says both parties bring value. The next one is legal purpose or competent parties. Yeah, let's do competent parties first. Competent parties is tattoo. That's the memory trick I have for competent parties. When you go to get a tattoo, and I have a few of them, so I know what I'm talking about, but when you go to get a tattoo, you have to sign a piece of paper that says, I'm old enough, I know what I'm doing, and I'm not under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And if you can sign that, then you can get a tattoo. That's who you can sell insurance to. Someone who's old enough, knows what they're doing, not under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Now, every state is a little bit different as to what age you can buy insurance, but the general rule of thumb is 18. But I'm old enough, I know what I'm doing, not under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And with the drugs and alcohol, it can be a little bit confusing because they might say like who below is a competent party and then list out 4 choices and everyone's on some type of drug. What you're looking for is someone who is not taking a mind-impairing drug. If you're taking a daily blood pressure medicine, a daily thyroid medication, you're fine. You're not an incompetent party. But if you're drinking, taking recreational drugs, or if you're on pain meds following a surgery, not a competent party. The other one they try to trick you on is a felon. It doesn't matter if you're a felon as long as you're old enough, knows what you're doing, and not under the influence of drugs and alcohol, you can buy insurance. The last one is legal purpose. And this one is also Joe Exotic, because why is Joe Exotic in jail? Joe Exotic is in jail for trying to hire someone and set up a contract for murder. That is against the law. You're not allowed to murder someone, and you're especially not allowed to hire a contract for somebody to go murder someone. So with legal purpose, you cannot break the law. You cannot go against public policy. You cannot hurt anybody with this contract. So again, the 4 elements of a legal contract: agreement, which is known as offer and acceptance. Consideration says that both parties have to bring value to the other party. The consideration on the side of the company is promise to pay. Consideration on the side of the customer is app plus premium. Competent parties: I'm old enough, I know what I'm doing, I'm not under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And legal purpose: I'm not breaking the law, I'm not going against public policy, and I'm not hurting anybody.